Hey everyone, welcome to the Keep 'em Healthy podcast. This is your host, Jamie. We are locked in on season 4. This season is going to be full of curiosity, learning, and great conversation. If this show is helpful to you, please share these episodes and follow this podcast on your podcast apps. Thank you so much for listening. Let's get this conversation started. Hey listeners, today on my show, I have a woman who is a local Doylestown, which I love. She is a registered dietitian with a 20 years plus of experience in public health nutrition and the founder of the Rooted Kitchen in Doylestown, PA. Joni Garcia, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
I'm excited. I'm excited that you reached out because I have some questions about how you got to the Rooted Kitchen and why you do what you do.
Yeah, sure. I'm happy to get into some of that. So I have been a food lover my whole life, loved food growing up, always interested in it. When I was about 15, wanted to lose weight and did it by what I thought was the right way to do it at that time, just counting calories and fat and exercising more. And at that time, I didn't know that that was the wrong way to do it, but that's what I did and it worked and it sparked an interest in nutrition in me. So I went to study it in college and then moved on to working in public health nutrition, where I was tasked at one point to connect farmers with our public health programs. And from then really started learning about where food comes from, nutrient density, and how much better not only is that kind of food for our body when it's grown locally, when it's grown in responsible ways, but also it tastes so much better. And so I started leaning into the basics of cooking that I learned from my mom and experimenting with the different things that I had there. And it just became a passion of mine, cooking and using food as medicine. It made me feel better. I had more energy. And then shifting into, I had this long career in public health. Earlier this year, my company was going through some reorganization, offering severance packages, and I always wanted to do something on my own. And also at that time, I had worked there for so long. I was moving up and up the ladder, which was amazing, but it got me pulled further away from doing things that I actually really enjoyed. And I was also stuck in meetings a bunch and not able to really take care of my health the way I wanted to. And, I managed, but I always thought to myself, if I'm struggling and I have all the tools and know all the things to do, people that don't have the tools may not know what to do and how to manage through these busy lives and demanding work schedules and all the other things that comes with life. So always wanted to do something on my own. So I took the package and started the Rooted Kitchen, working with people to help really support their foundations in their body and getting to eat real food, whole foods to make us feel better.
Absolutely. That's a great journey. And a lot of it does stem from you took the opportunity when you saw it. You're like, okay, I'm going to do what I need to do, especially because you saw a need. If you're feeling it, other people are feeling that, oh, I might need help with. Maybe they don't even know they're missing the tools and you can guide them into their health and wellness journey. But I like what you said about the farmers and how learning about nutrient density and how the food that we eat, if it's processed and it's not produced ethically and whatnot, then we won't have as much bang for our buck. We don't get as much nutrition. And our soil is lacking in different things like magnesium. And people don't understand that we need to supplement sometimes because of the lack of nutrition in the soils. And so our food, a carrot today versus a carrot maybe 100 plus years ago, may have a little different nutrition density than it would now. So totally. I like that you mentioned that. So let me ask you this. For the Rooted Kitchen, what is some of the first basics that you begin with when you work with a client?
So I always ask for at least a 3-day food record, ideally one weekend day and 2 weekdays. And I also want to know what's their typical schedule. How busy are you? How much time do you have for yourself? Number one, what's your workday look like? I want to see what they're doing now. And also want to hear from them what their end goal is so we can make small shifts along the way to get them to where they are. I also like to know, are they giving themselves during the day any time for themselves? I think a lot of times we forget to nurture our own bodies. And if we don't do that, it's going to be difficult to number one, move the needle towards whatever the health related goal is, but then also to be there for the people that we love.
Right. So health isn't just what you're putting in your mouth in regards to food. It starts with the time and space that we have to even dedicate to health and wellness. So for
Absolutely.
that reason, like what do we have in this journey? Like what do we actually have control over?
So I think we have a lot more control than we realize. I mean, I think that there are certain things we can't control. We may not be able to control and make changes today in where we live or our job, but we can control and we can make the decision to put healthier foods in our body, to take 3 minutes to just sit and breathe. These are things that we can all do, and we can do that today. It's just about making the conscious choice to do it and also making a little bit of a plan for it. I always feel like, when we go take a trip somewhere, you don't just like all of a sudden show up and things are perfect and fine. You have to like do a couple things. You might have to make a reservation or put gas in the car. You have to do something. And it's the same thing with our health. We have to make just a little bit of a plan, but we can do things starting today to start to feel better and have more energy.
So I like that. It's almost like you need a scaffolding so that you can show up to your day and at least have some support for your health and wellness from certain things put into place. So for you, Joni, what would be certain things that you would put into place for yourself?
Yeah, so I think building in a couple minutes, I think breath work is huge. It's something I'm super passionate about. And even just taking 3 to 5 minutes just to give myself just to breathe and have that time with myself, I think is number one and is key. Another thing is having healthier foods on hand so that the healthy choice is the easy choice. If it's not even in the house and you can't even like grab for something, you're setting yourself up for failure. So doing a little bit of prep in advance to be able to have that healthy option is going to make a huge difference.
So for your breath work specifically, there's a lot of different rules of thumb of how the counts and the inhale being short or the exhale being long. What route of breathing do you like to do to calm your nervous system?
So I have a couple different ones that I really like. I do think at the end of the day, it's important to focus on belly breathing, getting the breath out from the chest, moving it into the belly, breathing in and out through the nose, and lengthening the exhale. I think those are all things that help to shift our body out of fight or flight into rest and relaxation, and also rest and digest. Because when we're in that stress mode, number one, we're not going to be able to focus, but also our body can't digest and absorb nutrients properly when it's going. So even if you're doing all the right things, your body's going to have trouble absorbing those foods and processing them properly unless it's chilled out, really.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Our body in a stress response is going to send blood to our brain and our extremities so we can like run and do things, but it will
Mhm.
not send it to our stomach. So if you're trying to eat while being in a super stressed out lunch hour at your work, you're not going to absorb the nutrients the same way. And then that's not as getting as much bang for your buck, which is what you want when you have your food and the food choices that you're going to have. So for you, locally, do you source food from local farms here or where do you find your local distributors?
Yeah, so I'm one of the co-managers for the farmers market in Yardley. So I
Okay.
do get a lot of my stuff from there. I also like to frequent a lot of the other farmers markets locally. I just think that number one, you can talk to the person who grew your food. You know exactly what they're doing, how they're growing it. Number one, and then also when it's grown locally, it's fresher, it tastes better, and it has more nutrients. So I do try to shop local as much as possible for all the items, but you can't always do it, right? So I do shop at the farm or the grocery stores. I try to choose organic when possible.
That's great. I take the drive up to Kimberton's Whole Foods once a
Mhm.
week.
Yeah.
They do a really nice job with incorporating local farmers and their produce in their stock. And then they'll do seasonal products and have
Mhm.
sales on the things that are meant to be eaten during that season. So it kind of forces me to, you want to get the stuff that's organic, but done well, but it's expensive. So when you
Mhm.
eat the seasons, it's not as expensive when it's in readily available. So
Totally.
Kimberton's is a really good job with that. And I know that in the like Bucks County area, there's a new Whole Foods that opened up. And
Mhm.
so, keeping eyes out for deals and also remembering that shopping the seasons is super helpful for pricing because it is tough. Like if you go into
Right.
Giant to spend money on an organic bag of apples, it's like so expensive. And you're like,
Totally.
doesn't make any sense. And they might not taste very good because they're from, Guatemala or somewhere like who knows how long it's been since they've been from the actual tree into the grocery store. So
Totally.
that really is something to think about when you are purchasing food because number one, cost, but number two, am I actually getting the nutrition value that I want?
Right. Yeah, and I have shopped at Kimberton too, and it's a little bit of a hike, it's not that
Yep,
far, so it doesn't happen on a regular basis, but it is a wonderful store with great products, and they kind of do a lot of the work for you, so you know the items that you're getting there are going to be of higher quality, so it makes it a little bit easier.
absolutely. So speaking of food, what would be your number one go-to recipe for a client of yours for the Rooted Kitchen? Like what's one of your starter recipes that you recommend?
Well, I think any recipe, just in general, and anytime you eat any meal or snack, should have fiber, protein, and healthy fat. So, those are going to be the basis of anything. So, for easy things, easy lunches, salads are great. You can just put some greens in it. I always aim for at least three different vegetables or fruits. Have them on hand, and you can prep some chicken, hard boiled eggs, canned salmon, whatever it is, throw that on it too with a super simple salad dressing. So, always trying to learn how to make, or actually, I should say, it's really easy to make your own dressings, and they're a lot healthier, they're fresher, and they taste better too. So, working with clients to just make their own salad dressings, I think is a big thing. So, I like to do that. I think also helping somebody with like basic things, a roast chicken, steaming and roasting vegetables, simple things like that, which are quick. They don't pretty easy, don't take tons of ingredients, and are really, really tasty. Those are kind of basics that I'll focus on. But then I also want to hear from them. What are some things that they really love to eat? And how can we take that, make it simple and easy so that they can easily do that on a regular basis?
What are some ingredients that are staples in people's homes that you teach them are actually not great for their gut microbiome or not good for their digestive system? What are some ingredients that would be your top couple that you would say, I would stay away from these?
Ingredients is
That you think the general population probably had that don't realize it's not helpful for their health journey?
Um, I'll be I'll be honest, a lot of times when looking at people's pantries, it's how long has stuff been in here for? Because sometimes it's just been there for so long. So it's like, okay, let's like toss some of these things. Is it something that's got tons of sugar in it? Like, let's look at the ingredients list. Let's look at the food label. Let's see how much sugar is in here, how many different forms of sugar is in the thing. And let's like get rid of that too and choose items that are have less sugar, less ingredients in them, and just are as much in its whole natural form as we.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think people would be shocked if they were to read labels and realize how much added sugar is in a lot of quote unquote healthy foods like snack bars and things that are whole
Mhm.
grain and have seeds and or we'll say protein bar and then you look at how much added sugar is in there and
Mhm.
it is a glycemic nightmare.
Yeah. And thinking about this now, what I would also say is a lot of the things labeled low fat or, having a lot of nutrient claims or health claims, sometimes in order to make the food taste good, a company will add a bunch of extra stuff in it, fake stuff in it, so it tastes the same as like whatever the regular version is. So kind of just paying attention to those labels I think is really important.
That's really important to note because
Mhm.
when I first started my gluten free journey, I had kids that were changing their diet as well. And so you wanted to give them the same technical foods that they had prior, but in a gluten free version.
Mhm.
And you think it's going to be healthier and they're going to feel better, but it actually did nothing in terms of their health because their gut was inflamed, number one. And number two, I was just putting a whole different version of chemicals that weren't gluten, but were still as inflammatory as gluten into their stomachs. So
Mhm.
one of the biggest things that I tell people when they're going gluten free is I say, do not try to replicate their cupcakes and their snack bars and the things that you want to give them as comfort foods, because a lot of the gluten free different breads and different things have ingredients that are worse than the actual brand that we're giving them from the get go.
Yeah,
So you really have to pay attention to ingredients, because the taste sometimes, even though it's good, may mean that it has things in it that are not good.
exactly. Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely. So there's a couple things on your website that I looked at that were myths that you were debunking. And you had mentioned about detox on your website. And so I was curious of your take on the myth that I need to detox to reset my health. What does that mean? What are you talking about there?
So I think that a lot of people will say, I need to go on a cleanse or some sort of like a detox diet where maybe, I mean, I think what isn't there like the lemon cayenne one is a big one,
Mhm.
or follow some sort of specific diet to make them feel better or clean them out, or whatever the thing might be. But your body has its own natural detoxification system right in it, and so we just need to make sure we're giving our body the tools that so that that detox and built-in detox system works properly. And so if we're eating whole foods, fruits and vegetables, lean meats, like healthy fats, if we're doing all of these things, our built-in detox system is going to work just fine. We don't have to look externally for some special diet or cleanse to do to make us feel better.
So then what would you recommend if someone was like, okay, well, I have not been eating well recently and I need to flush out my body and start over. So what would you recommend? What would you say to that person instead?
I would say let's focus on getting back to basics, and let's get some whole grains and some fruits and vegetables and some meats, and just let's get eating regular whole foods. Let's get rid of the packaged foods, let's get rid of sugar, and let's just support our body and give it what it needs right now. Drinking lots of water. Let's like lay off alcohol for a little bit. Just really support our body, support our body's foundation so that we can get back to normal, so we can get back to feeling good and having energy.
Absolutely, I agree. And so you talk about how you help with cooking and food for your clients, but
Mhm.
you also talk about how you work with breath work and then mindfulness and ways that you can incorporate things in your lifestyle to strengthen your health. So, what
Mhm.
are some of those modalities that you would help to that you would give to your client as a way to continue their health outside of food?
Sure. So during each session, I like to start with some breath work. I think it's important to, number one, kind of help focus, and if there's been other things going on in the day, kind of clear that out, focus for our session, and then have those be tools that they can then use in their own lives on a regular basis. So I had talked earlier about just the inhaling and lengthening the exhale, breathing through the belly, those kinds of things. So we'll work on that, but we work on a couple different ones too. Like we might do some alternate nostril breathing, which helps to balance out different sides of the brain. We can work on some box breathing, which is, lengthening some of those exhales that then brings additional oxygen to the cells of the body to help give you more energy. So there's different breathwork tools that we can do together that they can then utilize in their own lives.
Awesome. So, a lot of the listeners on my show
Mhm.
are women.
Mhm.
So, why did you choose to focus the Rooted Kitchen in empowering women and go that route?
Um, I just feel like for women, number one, I'm a woman. So I feel like my journey might resonate with other women too. And, they may be able to see themselves in me. I can see myself in them. But also, I think women, we forget to care for ourselves a lot of times. And I think it's really important that we take a step back and make sure we're taking care of ourselves so that we can be the caregiver that we want to be for other people. And we tend to take on so much in our day, that it's important to step back a little bit, pull back, and do for ourselves. And I just want to remind women that it's important to care for themselves and to give themselves. what they need.
Absolutely. And it's also
Mhm.
a reminder that, women, we want to be independent, but at the end of the day, we need each other and we
Mhm.
need that community support. And there's what we will always have things that we don't know, or maybe that we don't even see in ourselves. So that maybe if a client came to you, Joni, that was talking about their busy lifestyle and talking about their diet and exercise, and they might not see certain missing links that you're like, hey, I could really help you to balance this all out, because I think what you're missing out of this is X, Y, and Z. And to teach them that tool that maybe they didn't even know existed, that could be such a quick and easy, helpful tool for their everyday life. So
Mhm.
I appreciate your passion for the women and to help women in our community to support ourselves, because it is hard. We have a lot of responsibility and we
Mhm.
want to do it all. But
Mhm.
sometimes when we do it all, it winds up being all outside of us and for others. And then we forget about taking care of the inside of ourselves as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep, I love that. Well, Joni, thank you so much for sharing your information about health and wellness and why you have such a passion for women and helping them in their health journeys. Will you let our listeners know what you have going on and where we can find you?
Yeah, sure. So you can find me on Instagram and also at TikTok at The Rooted Kitchen Co. And my website is therootedkitchenco.com. So you could find me there. I'm also going to be doing a breathwork workshop at Burning Lotus on January 4th. So if you're interested in that, you can certainly check that out also.
That's awesome. Congratulations on all that you're doing, Joni. And I
Thank you.
hope you all the best of luck as you continue on growing the Rooted Kitchen and helping support women in our community. Listeners, please check out my show notes if you're interested in getting a hold of Joni Garcia. Again, the Rooted Kitchen is in Doylestown in our Bucks County area. So I love syncing up listeners with local people, because after they hear the message, sometimes it's nice to have someone to go to that is right in their community. So thank you all for listening and thank you for joining the show.
Thank you.